You know, as a business owner, there's probably no decision you're going to make that's going to have more of a day-to-day impact on your company than which bank you're selecting to use. And that's because the transactions that you do on a daily basis, both collecting cash and making your payments, are all dependent on how the bank is transacting them. So let's talk about the things that you need to think about when you make those decisions. So the first thing to talk about is Treasury Management, which is the way banks move money in and out of your account. And there's two things to consider there. One is depositing funds. And if you're a large company, you may want a bank that has a lockbox so that they can process a large number of transactions for you very efficiently. But if you're a small company, you may want to get a remote terminal so that you can scan the checks right on your desk at your office and get those directly into your account. If you're making payments, the easiest way of making payments nowadays is to do it by ACH, where you can literally put the bank account of your vendor right in the system and get that money paid directly to them in one day. Much faster than working with online bill paying, but that's certainly a reasonable option that people use all the time. If you're going to be borrowing money, it's important to understand what kind of borrowing you're going to do. If you're buying equipment or you're buying a building, certainly a mortgage or a term note is going to be part of that decision. But if you're dealing with day-to-day borrowing, a line of credit, you're going to be looking for an asset-based loan, a loan that's going to be based on the assets that you're providing to the company as collateral, either inventory or accounts receivable. And the thing to consider there is not just whether you're going to be doing a borrowing base, because if you're doing asset-based lending, you're going to be doing a borrowing base on a regular basis, but how frequently. Some banks may require it weekly, others may require it once a month. And also a consideration for the advance rates you're going to be using. And if you're going to be doing other borrowing and you're going to be going through the SBA, it's important to find a bank that is a direct lender with the SBA, as opposed to somebody that's going to be working with the SBA through a third party, which is going to end up costing you more on an ongoing basis. If you deal with international transactions and you're going to be issuing letters of credit, take a look at whether your bank has the capability of issuing letters of credit directly or whether they're working with a correspondent bank. There's certainly nothing wrong with working with a correspondent bank, but if you have any difficulties getting information, is going to require a second phone call from the bank to the correspondent bank to get you the information that you need. So it's important to decide not just which of these transactions you're going to be doing on a regular basis, but how those are being processed by the bank and what they charge for each one of those transactions, because those day-to-day transaction costs can add up very quickly. And it's important to take a look at how the bank is charging you for services. It may be on a direct basis, or they may be doing an analysis of your account on a monthly basis to determine how much cash you have in the account and charge you based on costs balanced against the cash that you're carrying in your bank account. And it's also important to take a look at the portal for the bank so that you understand what the online presence is for the bank and whether it's easy to be able to use so that your staff can learn how to use it quickly and easily and without a lot of fuss. One thing to keep in mind is that everybody talks about relationship banking, but the reality is that banks have had so many consolidations and acquisitions over the last few years that making a decision to go with one bank may not necessarily mean that that's the bank you're going to be dealing with long term. The world is always changing around us.